Welcome to the Cohesive Home Podcast, episode 30. In celebration of our 30th episode, we're going to chat about what we think makes a cohesive home. We'll share a few of our favorite hacks for creating a happier home and living by your family's values.
So how is it possible that we've actually recorded 30 episodes?
I honestly don't know, but I would assume that in the grand scheme of things, people are like, you only have 30 episodes?
We ain't got no hustle.
Oh my gosh. No, it's true though. I mean, we started it not really knowing, what to expect or the direction. We knew what direction we wanted to go, but we didn't know really what form the podcast would take. And one thing we did know is that we wanted to take it slow and deliberately. And I feel like we've really done that.
Right. And I mean, even though we kind of conceived of the idea of cohesive home back in, what was it, November of 2015?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has. It really has.
It took us several months to prepare for and start recording the podcast. So what was that, January 2016 that we did our first episode at the end of the month?
I think so, yeah. We had started cohesivehome.com, and we knew that there was a need within, I guess you could even say, the minimalist market, but we saw this kind of void that no one had filled yet. And
right.
we talked about how we would fill that. And when we really started the blog, we knew that a podcast was really the best way and the best form to kind of talk out things that you and I were even, worrying about or learning about. And so, yeah, it's kind of taken shape from there.
Yeah, you know what, Melissa, I am so glad though that we decided to take it slow. I know that so many podcasts, they hit the ground running and they're putting out an episode every single week. And we knew from the beginning that wasn't in alignment with what we valued as mothers, and as, creative people. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm glad that we have kind of stayed true to our original idea. And it has been such a blessing to share these ideas with all of you listening and to connect with you through this podcast. We love reading your emails and sharing our ideas further through our website.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and being on this journey with Kate and I.
Yes. And so today what we wanted to do was just kind of go back to the beginning and talk about our original ideas for cohesive home and hopefully give you a few that you can use in your own life.
So one thing I know as a mom and as a wife and trying to simplify and doing all of these things, we have this checklist of things that we want to be. The thing that we talk about most, I believe, other than minimalism on our podcast, is finding our values. We've touched on this so many other times, but that really is, step one, finding your values.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really foundational. I think it's a step that we tend to overlook. We get so busy with our daily lives and our jobs and our friends and our family and all of our social commitments that sometimes we forget what the purpose of our lives even are. And so by, sitting down with your family, by identifying what you value, and then starting to direct your life toward goals that work hand in hand with your values, that's when it actually becomes an intentional life. As overused as that phrase is, being intentional or purposeful.
Yeah.
But it's true. We do want to have intention.
Yes.
And the first step is our values.
Yes, exactly. But I will be honest, having that grand overview, full picture, that really the values tend to help us with that, the big picture, right? But in my day-to-day life, like even yesterday, man, it was overcast here and I just got bleh.
Yeah, bummed out.
I was bummed out. I was super mopey. And you know what? I just realized I haven't taken my B12 in like 3 days. Maybe that's what it was. I think I would take that.
Energy low.
Low. And, I was just kind of like, not really feeling it.
Yeah.
And so maybe you have these big pictures, but you have to remember it's the day-to-day grind. And I hate to even use the word grind, but it really is. It's that every day making the choice to live simply and to simplify your home and your daily choices within your home, whether that's, where you're not going that day or where you are going that day, or how you even spend your time within your home. That's one thing I think the biggest difficulty with is being so distracted by the things within my home. But your home really is your sanctuary, and it needs to be that safe and calming place on a day-to-day basis. So focusing in on those things. Is this making any sense whatsoever?
Yeah, keep going.
It's really, I don't know. That's kind of what I personally have really been working on lately, is just trying to figure out the rhythm of my day and those simple things in my day to make me happier and not so bummed out. I was super bummed. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
One of those things. Hormones, I'm sure.
Well, and that's something we've said over and over on this podcast, is that, minimalism is trendy and it's super cool and you can like Pinterest it right now and find it everywhere.
Yeah.
But we do not want to be living for minimalism.
Right.
Like that's not the end goal. It's just a tool. And so we can use it to simplify our home and simplify our daily lives so that we can move toward our goals. And that's really, to me at least, that's the whole point of minimalism.
Oh, it's definitely, that's it. Yep. You oh, Kate, you're so good.
Whatever.
I don't know. Okay. If you're listening and you've been listening for a while, I am sure that you've gathered that I am me, Melissa, am the a little more scatterbrained, random thoughts. I just kind of blurt them out there. And Kate is so good with kind of taking what I say or what she's thinking and create this like beautiful word package.
Oh, whatever.
So
Melissa, we're one mind. We're like, we just like flow on the same wavelength.
Flow. Well, I will say, we have gotten emails, especially lately, that people like what we're saying. What we're doing resonates with them. So just know, again, we so appreciate those emails. They really just spur us on.
Yes.
And let us know that we're not just two crazy moms sitting here chatting about things. And we're the crazy ones.
Well, we might still be crazy moms, but
maybe a little bit.
But, I will say though, and I think this is important, Melissa, for us to, be honest about to everyone, is that, we have days where we're like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And obviously, Melissa, your family has different goals from mine. Like, you're on a different path than we are. But, last night I was saying to my husband, Kirk, I was like, why are we doing all of this? Like, I just want to give up. And then I have to remember, I go back to step one, right? And I think about those values and I'm like, you know what? This is so hard. It is so hard to live this way, but I know it is worth it because it makes us happy.
Yeah.
And it gives a rhythm and a reason to our days. We have purpose.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. So, but, again, with those, you just touched on the rhythms and the rituals and the things that we've talked about in previous episodes. Cutting those unnecessary activities, saying no, that
Right.
creates that rhythm and that creates that joy. And maybe that's what I was feeling yesterday, was needing to get back to like that rhythm. I feel like our rhythm has been off. My husband is working a second job. It's like he grades international baccalaureate tests. And so he's been doing that in the evenings. And so he stays at work until 8 or 9 at night after his other job. And, that just really puts a kink in the rhythm. It puts
Yeah.
and I'm sure that that's part of my feeling yesterday, was the anticipation of getting back into the work week and a rhythm being off. So anyway, there's always going to be
Yes.
things, little wrenches that are thrown into your days and into your months even, but just remembering those values and why you're doing it, and knowing that it's hard sometimes, but that it's all worth it is key.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, like in your case, Melissa, you know that this is short term, it's temporary, and it is going to help you with your goals in the future.
Yeah.
And so that is why he said yes to grading.
Yep.
And so we always have to remember, like, why did I say yes?
Yeah.
And if you don't have a strong reason to say yes, you should say no.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And if you need help figuring out, how to use your time in a way that reflects your values, definitely download our 7 Steps to a Cohesive Home. It's our free guide that you get for signing up for our newsletter, and it's really helpful. We have some exercises in there to help you kind of narrow down the ways that you use your time, and then figure out how to use it in a way that feels better for you and your family.
Yeah, I know. And with that, you also get updates from us. It's awesome.
What could be better?
What could be better? We think very highly of ourselves. Okay.
No.
So, anyway, so definitely, if you haven't already, download that on our website. Okay, so the next step in creating your cohesive home would definitely be to kind of pinpoint your family culture. Figure out what makes your family tick. So, for example, my family, we still have pretty small children. Our oldest is 9 now. And so we know that as much as we would love travel to be what makes our family tick, and that's like the core value of what we do, right now, our life we're not there yet. So we have to figure out what else that is. So we've decided that, paying off debt and focusing on maybe small trips around our state, or just being together as a family as much as possible, which sounds so simple, but really, like we've said in our other steps, is that, you find that through rhythms and rituals that maybe you have to say no to activities in order to find that goal of, what is your family's goal? What is it that makes your family your family? And so, for us, that's, it's simple, but that's kind of where we are right now. So Kate, I know that we've spoken about this in other podcasts, but where would you say your family culture lies right now?
Well, I want to say first that family culture it's so individual. So,
Oh yeah.
yours is going to look completely different from your neighbors. It's going to look different from the people that you see on social media, on
Mm-hmm.
blogs,
Mm-hmm.
and to just embrace your family's culture, to
Yeah.
just figure it out and to own it. And so for us, I think we're kind of oddballs, and we've just accepted that. So,
Yeah.
my husband plays music and I'm a writer. Those are things that we feel deeply. We encourage our kids to be creative and playful. We love getting outside and exploring. We love to travel. And we love being spontaneous. I think that's probably maybe a small thing, but it is a thread that weaves through everything that we do. We just
Hmm.
love
Yeah.
kind of living in the moment as much as we can with
Yeah.
kids, a home, and jobs.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I would have to say that we are very much the same in that. That's a really good one. So, and that's the thing. That's why I don't know, maybe our next tip and the fact that finding a community and finding like-minded friends and people to talk to is so important because I know talking to you, Kate, I I don't know stuff sometimes, like what I'm even thinking sometimes. And I talk to you about it and you might say one little thing like just like that, spontaneity within your family. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, we definitely value that. That is definitely something that makes our family tick. We've never really been a family that has been very. I wouldn't say we're not structured, but maybe some people might say we're not structured. We're a little, yeah, fly by the seat of our pants most
But
days,
that's okay if
and that's
that's
us. Yeah,
right. That's because that's who you are. And so like you mentioned community and finding like-minded friends. And I think that's so helpful because, if I can sit down with someone over a cup of coffee and
yeah,
tell a little bit of our story and hear a little bit of their story, sometimes that makes things just that much clearer. You're like, oh yeah, I am that person. And then you can kind of, you can own it.
or you find out that you have nothing in common with that person and you never see them again. I'm just kidding.
But no, but it's true. I mean, Melissa and I are both in our 30s. And, that's something we've talked about before is how our definition of community or the type of community that we're in has changed so much over the years.
So much.
And it's like we were saying about your time being valuable. Invest in friendships that are positive, that you feel supported, that you feel like you can be who you are,
Yeah,
and that you don't have to pretend to be anything else.
exactly. Exactly. I have never pretended to be anything but just crazy around Kate.
It's true. It's
She
very true.
accepted me from the very beginning. No, and it's so true. You have to have those friends, and even I would even say whole families,
Yeah.
other families that that our husbands can get along with other husbands, and our kids get along with kids. Guys, if you have that, treasure that. That is gold. It is gold because it is so hard to find that. So if you find it, hold on to it. It's pretty important.
But if you don't lose hope. Don't give up because there is community out there for you.
Yeah.
And we hope, I know I speak for Melissa and I, but we hope that we can provide some sense of community for you as you find your own local people to
Yeah.
support you and just love you for who you are.
Well, and which brings us to one of our last points is that you have to embrace those imperfections, and you have to be okay with slow change. That is, I would have to say, one of the key points in becoming any sort of, I guess, implementing any sort of simplicity or minimalism or values based living. It is not going to happen overnight. I mean, I guess you could literally just throw all your stuff outside and say bye to it. I mean, that's
And
overnight.
some people do, right?
They do, and it'd be great. Do it, but it is a slow, methodical, very intentional change.
Right. And just because you get rid of all your things doesn't mean that that's going to give you any more insight into
Right.
what makes your family tick and what you value. So, like we said, going back to the first step, those have to go hand in hand. But while you're in the process of figuring things out, find contentment with where you are. Find the things that make that day special for what it is. Even if it's not where you want to be, you're not living where you want to live, you're not doing the job that you're passionate about, or maybe just whatever your life circumstances are, if they're not quite what you wanted them to be, just be content with where you are.
Right. Because some days, like again, yesterday, I'm all bummed out. I'm not in the house I love. My husband's working a lot lately and things aren't perfect, but it's okay because I know where our family is going. I've gone through all of these steps, pinpointing our values as a family. We've, simplified our home. I know we need to do it again. We've, tried to create rhythms and rituals within our family, and we've definitely found community with, even if it's far off, with Kate, and we have some other friends and family around us here in Oklahoma. All of these things help me to get past those days when I'm just a little bummed, and it's okay. You're going to have those days, and we're here to encourage you and let you know that if you're really down, just listen to one of our podcasts and hopefully we can help you through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we just hope this episode was encouraging to you. Melissa and I don't have perfect lives. You probably hear my kids giggling in the background right now. I think they're tickling each other, but we don't have things figured out, and that is okay. It's okay if you don't either. But what we do know is that this journey to creating a more intentional family life is just so much sweeter with friends along for the ride, and that includes you.
We're excited to also share that while Kate is on maternity leave, I guess we can call it that.
Baby break.
It's a baby break. We will actually be conducting some interviews on our podcast. I know we've only done that one other time. And so we have a minimalist finance blogger, a nomadic yoga family, and a family of homesteaders. So it should be really cool. We really hope that by sharing other people's stories, you'll find encouragement to embrace your own story. Thanks so much for listening today. Please share this episode with a friend and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app. Or just go to cohesivehome.com and listen there. We'll see you next time.